Dave, Joshua, Jacoby, and Jeff. Get ready. You're next on episode 34 of the Reddit Golf Swing Analysis Series. Ladies and gentlemen of the Line Golf Academy, welcome back to episode 34 of the Reddit Golf Swing Analysis Series. And in this series, we take swing submissions from users of Reddit and go over their cause and effect. Keep in mind, this is not to replace a lesson. This is just to give them an idea of what is going on in their swing based on the notes that they give me. If you go ahead and like this, I'd appreciate it. And if you want to subscribe, if you like this content, we'll promote more swings like this. And also on-course videos, instructional videos. But keep in mind, it is summer now, and it's pretty warm outside. It's about 115 degrees. So those videos will probably start showing up in a little bit of time. But other than that, let's get going. This first one is Jacoby. So Jacoby, he has said he's been working hard to fix his over-the-top move. Can't seem to stop the hip thrust. And I'm lacking consistency now. Moving away from his natural swing. All right, let's take a look, Jacoby, and see what's going on. So I started it at the face on just to see a couple of ball position things and see how the body's moving in terms of staying centered. All right, not quite sure of any hip thrust. That's his down the line. Okay, I mean, it looks a little lateral. I mean, you do get a little bit of a lateral slide going on there, but it's nothing too much. I mean, you can see your right hip kind of turns back and into the target here. I think maybe just a little bit more deeper turn with your shoulders. It looks like the arms are kind of getting on their own tangent there. Top of the swing. You got a pretty good lean going on there. I see that little bit of a slide, what you're talking about, but that's more like weight transfer. So it's nothing too crazy there. I see the hands, yeah, I kind of see that disconnection going on there. I think that has to do with more of your ball position than anything. If we take a look here, and if you follow us here, you know about my theory about ball position. So, based on your spine angle, based on your setup, that is where your ball position should be. Anytime you start invoking this forward press, you're basically, presetting some sort of shaft lean at impact, but it's almost like a fake shaft lean because from here you can't really release the club. So you have a couple of options. You have to get really handsy and armsy. You have to delay the release somehow by either turning too much or tilting too much. I think this has to do with something to go on here. So let's take a look here. I'm going to draw a line kind of in the middle of where you are. Okay, so that's basically where the center of your hips are in relation to the ball. So that's okay. I just think maybe too much tilting going on, pushing your hands out in front, and then you have this premature shaft lean. So just kind of relax, maybe not so much spine tilt with your shoulders, and this angle here. So not too much of this, just kind of level them out a little bit, and then just relax the hands so they're more connected to the shaft. But that ball placement is a little bit too far back. As we come back into impact, you can see your center has shifted. Your upper body's still doing okay, but your center's shifted ahead. Now keep in mind that ball position now in terms of your center of your body, look how far back it is behind it now. I mean, you've essentially moved that ball position back another 6 or 8 inches. And as a result, you kind of have to get your hands really involved right at impact. You can see them kind of taking over and shutting down that club face. That will give you some issues with ball contact, some thin shots, some heavy shots, definitely ball direction, because the amount of time that your hands have to square the club face and arrive pretty, square to the target, it's much smaller now because your hands and arms are being relied on too much based on that ball position. This will also cause you to kind of hang back. You've got a little hang back look going on here because you're trying to stay centered over the ball with your upper body, but your lower body's kind of shoving out underneath you. So I would highly recommend just checking your starting position. Grip alignment, setup, posture. Ball position has everything to do with everything else. So if you don't take a look at your ball position and make sure it's connected truly to your spine, you can start to see some cause and effect issues. But let's take a look at down the line because I think that might be a bigger eye opener here. All right, Jacoby, so we got this down the line here. Let's take a look at your swing. First of all, let me see if I can guess where you're from. Man, that looks very much like the northwest. I'm gonna say Oregon. If I'm right, let me know. If I'm wrong, just say Wichita, because we're gonna find somebody from Wichita eventually. Okay, yeah, I see those hands really getting engaged here. Look at that release, just to try and play catch up with that ball position. You can get away with it. Obviously, you have a really good core. I mean, your swing looks pretty stellar outside of the ball positions causing some issues. In terms of your setup, if we take a look at where your feet are in relation to your hips, so we can see your feet are kind of supporting the trunk of your body, which is about here. You almost want your feet to support more of the hips, more of the whole leg. So maybe scoot back the feet, just a scotch there. Is that even a word? But that'll help you support your lower body while it maintains its posture. And then you'll be providing some adequate room for your hands and arms to kind of just go through that impact zone with more room to kind of not have to flip. As we take it back, let's take a look at your spine angle here. You just look a little bit crunched. Spine angle does a pretty good job of holding. Yeah, you lose a little bit there. You can see you kind of pushing into the golf ball. Again, kind of that hunched look. As you strike the golf ball, you lose a little bit of your spine angle here. So your weighting is kind of crashing into the ball as opposed to pulling away from the ball and letting your upper body slide under by creating more room. So I think your setup will definitely help you out. Get those feet back a little bit. Feel like you're, definitely have more room. You don't want to start reaching for the ball, just move your feet back. So it feels like your weighting is going to be more on the toes area. Not to say all of it's on there, but more than you're used to. Think about an athlete, you want to run on your feet, on your toes, you want to jump on your toes, you don't really jump and run on your heels. So the same sort of thing here. You want to really engage those, the front part of your feet to kind of push through. But you can see what's happening with your hands and arms. They kind of, playing catch up here, flipping through. Your plane, I would say it's slightly steep, and I'm sorry for all these lines here, but your plane is slightly steep as you take that club back. So arms are definitely kind of disconnecting as you're trying to turn, a little deeper turn, more like your hands kind of pull into you as you turn to kind of get you back on your plane. You can see the top position here, you're very steep in terms of that upper plane line. So you do have a little compensation move coming back on down. You're trying to lay off that club to try and get to that upper plane line, which is what your athleticism's kicking in and saying, I need to get that club head close to that plane line. But I've seen plenty of people play this and do a really good job, and you tend to get that club in the slot, although it's very steep. As you come on through, it follows that plane down. So you do a really good job. I mean, you have a lot of good hand-eye coordination, good athletic motion. I would say definitely take some room, put your feet more under your hips, check that ball position, and then just get your hands more down as you take that club away, more one piece, so you feel more stretch on your left side. But hopefully that helps you, and let me know if I'm right about up in Oregon. I think I said Oregon, but if not, just tell me I'm right about Wichita so I can move away from this Wichita thing. But other than that, hope that helps you, and let me know. Let's see who's next. All right, next we have Dave. Now Dave only sent me a down the line, and that's okay. We'll try and make it work for you, Dave. What is his notes? His notes are playing golf regularly last year in October, so welcome to golf. Shooting in the 90s, had a few lessons with local pro, keep that up. Main issue is catching the ball thin or fat. Also struggle with low ball flight irons in my longer irons. No big issues with injuries or flexibilities, that's good to know. Hold on to that while you can. Let's take a look. Okay, I see why it's a little thin and fat already. Club gets stuck behind you, right about here. But you do a really good job rotating through. So I'll tell you what, for somebody that's been playing for a short amount of time that you have, really good body turn. It'd be too bad if you didn't send me that front view, because we can check the ball position. It definitely looks like you're stacking on your left side here. You see how straight that right leg is. And then as a result, your left knee gets kind of flexed down. That's usually a sign that you're tilting too much on your left side and you get stuck and you have to kind of flip through. But we'll make with what we have here. Let's just draw some lines to help you out. Setup looks, anything here? Didn't tell me what club that was, so we're going to guess it's probably a 6-iron. Okay. All right, setup's not too bad. I would take a look at where you're aligning to. Feet are here, so club face should be, railroad try is right about there. Everything else, shoulders look slightly open to that setup. Yeah, so definitely possibly ball position issues, or just, you look very heavy on your left side, which is causing you to lean left and get your shoulders open as we take that club back. Okay, pretty good turn here. Hands going up that plane line, club is disconnected. It could also be the camera view. If it's too close to you or too much on the right side, it looks like that club goes inside, but it definitely does go inside. As you get to the top plane line, you can see your left arm is very low, very flat compared to where it should be at that upper plane line to help you maintain your plane. As you come on back through, you try to reconnect it. You do a good job here, but from this point, more turning as your arms are stuck there and your hands are stuck there, that club will stay on plane. But momentum takes over, club falls back below the plane line, and from here, when the club is parallel, you can see how far right that club face is aiming. There's got to be some manipulation going on here, and for you, your manipulation comes from you turning as much as you can to square that club face up, which is good. But then you have a tough time holding on to that release pattern, and you can see you trying to hold on to it as long as you can, and the hands finally release over here, and you can see how much lower that plane line is too. So you start with a pretty decent plane setup. As I think there's a little bit more too much turn because maybe you're starting up in a tilting position, so you have to compensate for that to turn, and now your arms are flat, and when you have flat arms, you have to do a lot of rotation and a lot of manipulation to help you out. And you can see a lot of this, injury here, injury here, injury here. So just be careful on that left side. This is very Tiger-esque. If you look at Tiger at Impact in his late teens, early 20s, all the way to probably mid 20s, late 20s, he was like this. And what happened to his left side? He's had 20 surgeries on his left side. So just be careful. We want to play this game longer. Other than that, I think you're off to a great start. Just make sure you keep working with that teaching pro. I highly suggest working at least once a month while you get through these things. And just mention some of the things that I saw. Maybe he sees it too. I'm not here to override anybody. They have their own visions for your golf swing. And based on your flexibility issues, there's no issues here. Other than that, you can see your shoulders are definitely flat compared to where they should be. Okay, so definitely just too much turn. Get stuck and you stay stuck. So hopefully that helps you. I'm gonna guess where you're from. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Let's just say Germany. I don't know why, but Germany. Hope that helps you. Let me know. Who's next? All right, next up we have Joshua. Joshua lefty. Let's take a look at what happened to Joshua here. Okay, he sent me a pretty nice debrief. He was 28 years old. I'm gonna guess you're from Dublin, Ohio, Joshua. I don't know why, but he actually told me that in his email. So at least I got one right this week. Not able to, trying to break 50. 2019, he's been pulled back into golf. Grew up playing golf probably once a year since he was a kid, but now he's more into it. So it looks like he's tried a lot of stuff here. Tried a lot of things from stronger grip, open and close stance, flat planes, steep planes, wrist bow at the top, shorten the swing, stack and tilt, squatting. Wow, that just sounds like a lot. So it's nice to what I'm looking for. Not self-analyze, but experiment. Nice to have some self-experiments going on, but just be careful. Sometimes, we're so unique that there's no one methodology that fits into everybody. Even me doing this doesn't necessarily mean that's your issue. This is just my perception based on a video, which isn't very much. I'd have to really see you in person and look at your ball flights and take a lot of statistics and see, what your cause and effect is, go through range of motion testing. So just keep that all in mind, okay? Let's take a look here. All right, not bad. Okay, a little bit of a closed club face at the top. Hold on to it. Pretty good release. All right, it's not bad for really getting back into golf. Now, with all the things that you have addressed and changed, it's really hard. Everybody has a DNA swing in them. From the moment you first pick up your club, that is your swing, and that's what we have to work with. Now, you might think you might be changing stuff on stack and tilt, but are you really? It's hard to tell. You put so much effort, and the amount you get out is usually fractions of inches is what we're looking at. So just keep that in mind. Even if you think you jumped around and tried a bunch of stuff, it's really hard to lose your swing unless you go through a traumatic body injury or age obviously limits your motion. But you take a look at Arnold Palmer's swing when he was in his 80s versus Arnold Palmer's swing when he was in his 20s. The core is still there. It's the same DNA swing. So I don't think you could do too much damage, but you could confuse yourself, and you can confuse the way you think about how you swing. So just right off the bat, This setup here, what we're looking at is, you're tilting your center of your chest based on that tilt. And so your ball position slightly back, you got this forepress going on here, but the ball position in relation to your center is okay. Now, I've seen plenty of people make this work. I've also seen some issues come from this. Partly is, a lot of increased tilting and turning to square that club face up because you can't release that club face naturally. But as you take that club back, we're going to put a back brace line on here to see how stable you are. Back brace line. Okay, pretty good loading into it. Arms look slightly low. I'm going to have to guess. We'll know by the down the line. You do a good job holding on to it. Hands are slightly disconnected. They should be a little bit further than they are. You can see the hands have to kind of make up for that, and you throw your hands a little bit at impact. But we're just trying to like nitpick here. Overall, it's a pretty good motion. You're pretty steady, balanced. I'm looking at your weight distribution on your feet. They look pretty good. Your weight's going from your left toe to your right heel, which is kind of where you want to be. We'll have to see if you do lose your posture. But from this point, if you want to mess with anything, just try and mess with ball position and your setup. So I don't know if you have somebody that you're working with, but grip alignment, setup, posture, and ball position is everything to do with posture, which affects everything else. Grip looks slightly strong, but that's okay. I mean, you definitely keep that club face shut here, and then it does affect your release point, but not that much. Let's take a look at the down the line, because I think that's where we might see some other issues. All right, Joshua, let's take a look here down the line. I'm gonna guess where you're from. Oh yeah, you're from Dublin, Ohio. That's right. Okay, arms coming out and away. Club face is slightly closed, not too bad. Little disconnection there, little rerouting going on here. So this reroute, you're definitely behind here. I mean, look at that left elbow. It doesn't have anywhere to go with that turn, so it's kind of jamming itself. And then you either have to turn really hard or you start pushing your arms back out in front, and that's that pushing the arms, and that gets that slightly over the top. And then that's going to really affect, over the top of the slightly closed club face. That's going to be really hard to time that release. Posture loss, slight bit of posture loss too. Okay, so it's just basically, sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. Let's take a look at your posture here. Same sort of thing as the last video. Your feet are kind of not supporting your hips. They're supporting more of your trunk. So back up your feet a little bit. Give enough room for this arm to kind of clear. It doesn't have a lot of clearance room anyway right now. So, pulling your feet back. You want to keep your upper body where it is. Pull your feet back. That gives it enough clearance room. So when you do start turning through, your left side won't get jammed up as much as it is now. And let's take a look at this plane here. Okay. Sorry about all the lines, but we'll make sense of it. So see how the arms are kind of going up and away from you. Same sort of thing. You definitely want to get that turn established right away and get your arms to kind of pull with that turn. It's basically just turning your body and keeping your arms and hands where they are to get that width of arc, to get that stretch on your right side. You can see that you've kind of established your turn already, and then you go to the top of your swing. Tiny bit steep. Arms are in good position, but the club is a little steep. And then this is where you run into trouble. So you have to kind of route it back around, create some room. But then there's that, you're stuck. So you see that left elbow is stuck against your left side. There's nowhere to go. So unless you tilt all of a sudden and get an extreme tilting action going on to get that club to fall down to that lower plane line, but then you're going to be hitting really heavy shots, very thin shots, you're kind of stuck at that point. So what you're left with is all you have, is you try and get your arms back out in front of your body, and as a result you can see your club face all of a sudden went from a pretty good position here to stuck, and now it's getting pushed out in front, trying to create the room for itself. Left arm tries to straighten up. Now you've created the room, but your plane is just kind of severely outside the in, very steep, so some issues can cause from that. You're not really losing much posture. You can see your weighting is, like I said, from the front view, you're pushing your weight from your toes to your heels, so you're staying against that back brace line pretty good. Slight bit of posture loss, but it's really, with that motion that you have, it's really good. So I think where you need to focus on is definitely your first part of the takeaway. Get those arms to come more inside as you turn, establish that deep turn, feel that stretch on your right side. Your setup changes, get those feet back behind you, keep your upper body where it is, so your weight's going to be more favoring the front part of your feet, so you can jump up and push off on it, create the room for yourself. and then just see how that works. You might have to start establishing some more tilting at the top to get you dropping the slots. If you need more help, I highly recommend searching a PGA Pro in your neighborhood to help you out. If you need some help about someone in Dublin, let me know. I can put my feelers out there, see what we get for you. So hopefully that helps you. Hopefully it's not too confusing. If you're confused, let me know in the comments. Let me know either way. But hope to see you soon. Let me know how things go, and let's see who's up final. All right, lastly, we have Jeff. Jeff, I love your commitment. I hope that's not a room. If that's your room, you got some, no, I see some saws up there. It's probably a garage, but I love the commitment. There's not a lot of room in that, that room, so this swing might be very upright to avoid hitting the window back there. But let's see, from New Jersey, thanks for letting me know. I'm going to guess you're from New Jersey. Let me know if I'm right. Swing different angles, swinging a 9-iron, never had an injury, don't think I've broken 100 on the course yet. Possibly haven't even gone under 110. I'll always play from the second longest tee boxes. You know, that's the thing. I mean, don't be concerned with playing from different tee boxes. I mean, play from the ones that put you in position to score better. You know, you can always go back later. You know, there's many times when I go out there and play the most forward tees because it's a lot more fun. So, you know, this game is tough enough as is. Don't make it tougher. You know, most of the scoring abilities come from course management and short game. So choose a set of tees that's, you know, favorable to your length, and then just work on course management and also short game, and then work your way back. Maybe set some goals. Say, you know, I'm not going to move back to the further back tees unless I break 100, and then once you break 100, unless I break 90, I'm not moving further back. But obviously, do what you want. But that's my recommendation. Once more lag, more club head speed, dumping my wrist angles. Nothing seems to improve on this. Physical limitation could be. Notice my head dips back, trail foot as well. Okay. All right, so he's got his own ideas of what's going on. Let's take a look. Okay. All right, so ball position. Let's look at your ball position right away. If I draw a straight line, and this is with a 9-iron. So with any iron, you never want to be right of center, ever. You always want to be center, even forward of center, that's fine. You want to promote some room to turn and release. If it's right of center, you're going to have to sway back there to make sure that that ball is not connected to your chest. And let me see what happens with you. Okay, it's not that much of a sway. You're doing a pretty good job turning. Your weight, however, you know, and I don't know if it's because you're practicing with all that stuff around you, you feel kind of restricted. But you know, you can see your weighting is not really where it should be. I mean, this right line is pretty straight to right side. Definitely want more turn to engage. Your upper body should be kind of having some sort of lean over that. This looks very stack and tilt like. From here, you know, you try and drive into it, but you see this position here. As we get back a little bit further, look at your spine angle. Your spine angle is leaning, you know, into the target. So you have to do a lot of accommodation for that. You have to, you know, drive your hip to straighten up your spine angle, which you kind of do. Your hands are striking the golf ball ahead of it, which is due to that ball position in the back. Not much release because you can't really release it when the ball position is so far back. So you're, from impact, post impact, it's pretty good. Just your setup. I mean, definitely ball position, you got to change that. It's really affecting the way you start the position, really affecting your backswing, your weight distribution, how you're striking the golf ball. But I think our telltale sign is going to come from down the line. So let's pull up the down the line and take a look. All right, Jeff, so now I know where you are, in a garage. That's still a pretty tight area. You know, it's no wonder you can't really release it. If you release it, you're going to hit all that stuff on the left side. So, you know, just clear some of that stuff out on the left side or give yourself some more room to swing. Let's take a look. Now you're definitely getting toe heavy. Trying to right yourself. I mean, you're doing a good job. You're definitely doing with what you have. It's really hard for you to release the club, though. I see you're holding on to it right here. I mean, look at that right hand. It's still holding on to it. Still holding on. I can still see the right back of your right hand. And now there's just that release just by the forces taking over. Your posture, you definitely lose posture. You're very much too much on your toes here. There's not enough room for your upper body. So if we take a look here, I'm going to draw, your feet. I'm going to draw a line where your feet are. Back brace line, and then your plane line. So your arms are just kind of pulled into your body. Not a lot of room for them to kind of be independent. So just give them some space. Maybe back the body up a little bit. Give you some space. I should be able to see enough room between your hands and your thighs, and I don't see any room. Everything's kind of pulled inside, which does affect a lot. As you take that club back, club rises up, pretty square to your spine angle. Get to the top plane line, a little bit flat. You're doing a decent job of holding your spine angle. Let's see what happens at impact. It's in the slot. It's holding on, and there it gets a little bit stuck. Yeah, not much. Okay, so definitely you're too scrunched up. Your body can't turn, it gets stuck. So couple simple fixes for you. Back up a little bit. Make sure you see some daylight, almost enough where we can put like a book lengthways. I can put a book in between your hands and your hips. Check your ball position. You don't want it all the way in the back side. You want it on your front side, which is your left side. So you don't want it on your right foot. Favor middle of the stance and forward, even more forward while you get used to this. It'll help promote rotation. It'll help you stop getting stuck. Your weighting's a little bit off. You kind of go back and forth between your heels and your toes. You're very toe heavy right now, so you need to get a little bit of squatting in your knees to pull that weight slightly back. Get some space between your arms and your knees, and work on balance drills. You need to start turning and turning. Get your balance work. I think a lot of your balance insufficiencies is coming from the ball position and also very close to the golf ball. There's very limited stuff you can do. So try those couple basic things before you go anything else. I don't think it's a range of motion issue. You look fine. I don't think there's an issue with flexibility. You look fine. It looks like you can do a really good job, but you're just starting from a very tight position, and you have to create room. And when you have to create room in 1 second, that's how long the average golf swing is. Now you're just too busy creating room. You're going to be unbalanced. You're going to be, hit or miss. You might hit one really good. You might, take that same swing and miss the golf ball by half an inch, and all of a sudden your club face is closed a few degrees. Your path is off a couple more degrees, and that's where your misses come. So golf is not a game of good shots. Golf is about how good your bad shots are. So just remember that. You want a swing that has a less errant miss. So hopefully that helps you. And I know you're from, because I already said it, because you helped me out there. So at least I'm 2 for 4 today. And who knows, I might get the other 2 right. But I hope that helps you guys. Let me know if you need more information by the comment box below. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do. It helps grow the channel, and I'll be releasing some more on-course instruction soon once the heat gets a little bit below 105. 105 is my cutoff, so I'll see you guys next. Fairways and greens.
Know that the ride or die. Know that the ride or die. I keep boys by my seat. Know that the ride or die.